Warehouse 13 is a U.S. television science fiction series that premiered on July 7, 2009, on the Syfy network. Executive produced by Jack Henney and David Simkins, the dramatic comedy from Universal Media Studios is said to have borrowed much from the American-Canadian horror television series Friday the 13th. The series, and has been described as part The X-Files, part Raiders of the Lost Ark and part Moonlighting. The series premiere was Syfy's third-largest debut to date, garnering 3.5 million viewers. The first 6 episodes were all among the top 10 highest-rated series episodes on Syfy. Episode 6, Burnout, drew 4.4 million viewers, setting the record for Syfy's highest-rated show. Season 2 began July 6, 2010. It was renewed October 5, 2010, for a third season of 13 episodes, which began July 11, 2011. It was renewed for a fourth season August 11, 2011, which began July 23, 2012. On May 16, 2013, Syfy renewed the series for a 6-episode fifth and final season, which aired its series finale on May 19, 2014. Characters from Eureka have crossed over to Warehouse 13 and vice versa, and a character from Warehouse 13 appeared on Alphas. Premise: the series follows U.S. Secret Service agents Micah Bering and Pete Lattimer when they are assigned to the secretive Warehouse 13 for supernatural artifacts. It is located in a barren landscape in South Dakota, and they initially regard the assignment as punishment. As they go about their assignments to retrieve missing artifacts and investigate reports of new ones, they come to understand the importance of what they are doing. In Season 1, Episode 4, they meet Claudia Donovan, who is searching for her missing brother. In Season 2, she joins the team as their technology expert. In Season 3, Episode 1, Steve Jinks, an agent from Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms and Explosives comes aboard. Fictional history: the series posits that there have been a dozen incarnations of the warehouse before the present-day 13th in South Dakota. Warehouse 1 was built between 336 and 323 BC under Alexander the Great as a place to keep artifacts obtained by war. After Alexander died, the warehouse was moved to Egypt, establishing the practice of locating the warehouse in the most powerful empire of the day, under the reasoning that it will there be best defended. Egypt's Ptolemaic rulers appointed a group of people, known as the regents, to oversee the warehouse and act as its first agents and collectors of artifacts. Warehouse 2 lasted until the Roman conquest of Egypt. Some of the other warehouses include Warehouse 7 in the Mongol Empire under Genghis Khan, Warehouse 8 in Germany during the Holy Roman Empire, Warehouse 9 in the Byzantine capital of Constantinople, Warehouse 11 in the Russian Empire under the Romanov dynasty, and Warehouse 12 in the United Kingdom from 1830 until 1914. It was during the time of Warehouse 11 that the regents began to employ agents to gather and protect artifacts. This practice continued under Warehouse 12, with British agents traveling further and further searching for artifacts to add to the collection. The next move brought the warehouse to South Dakota in the United States. Unlike previous warehouses, which were placed in the centers of their empires, Warehouse 13 was located in a remote area of South Dakota to hide it. The first Warehouse 13 was built in 1898, but the structure burned down because of an insufficient understanding of how to safely store artifacts. The move to the rebuilt and current Warehouse 13 occurred in 1914 at the onset of World War I. The warehouse was designed by Thomas Edison, Nikola Tesla, and M.C. Escher, while the warehouse expansion joints were created by Albert Einstein. Artifacts and gadgets: originally, artifacts are items connected to some historical or mythological figure or event. Each artifact has been imbued with something from their creator, user, or a major event in history. Some are well known: Lewis Carroll's Looking Glass, which contains an evil entity called Alice that can possess other people's bodies, leaving their minds trapped in the mirror. And Edgar Allan Poe's pen and a volume of his writing, which can make whatever the user writes a reality. Some are not. Lizzie Borden had a mirrored compact that today compels users to kill their loved ones with an axe. Marilyn Monroe owned a brush that now turns its user's hair platinum blonde, which Mika once used on herself while under the influence of W.C. Fields juggling balls that induce drunkenness and blackouts. Others are just plain bizarre, such as Ivan Pavlov's bell, which will call any dog to you but causes excessive drooling for 24 hours, or a magic kettle that grants wishes but will produce a ferret if the wish is impossible. The artifacts react with electricity and can be neutralized by immersion in a mysterious purple goo or placed inside a neutralizing reflective bag, both produced by Global Dynamics, a research laboratory from Warehouse 13's sister show, Eureka. Artie has also mentioned that ingesting neutralizer will make you see things. A new concept is introduced in episode 43. Mrs. Frederick shows Claudia an artifact being created, a silver bracelet worn by an ordinary person who exhibits extraordinary courage, opening up new possibilities for future stories. Cast and characters. Eddie McClintock as Pete Lattimer is a rule-bender Secret Service agent, now assigned to Warehouse 13. He has been able to pick up vibes, both good and bad, since he was a child. The series frequently makes references to his being a recovering alcoholic who already had been sober for more than 8 years when the series started. He is also more than a little fond of cookies. Joanne Kelly as Mika Bering, once a rising star in the Secret Service, is a by-the-book agent. She has a scrupulous eye for detail and possesses an eidetic memory. She also has extensive knowledge of books, having grown up in a bookstore. Reference to a former partner that ended in tragedy is frequently made, such as in the Season 1 episode Regrets. Saul Robin Gazati Nielsen is the special agent in charge at Warehouse 13. A former cryptographer and codebreaker for the NSA, he has spent over 30 years at the warehouse and is very knowledgeable about artifacts, both in the warehouse and out in the world. He becomes a surrogate father to Claudia. General Williams as Leana, the proprietor of the bed and breakfast in nearby Univille, where the team lives. She can read a person's aura. Alison Scagliotti as Claudia Donovan is described as a young, hip, brilliant techno-whiz, who earns a job at Warehouse 13 after discovering too many of its secrets. She can hack into almost any computer network and occasionally modifies artifacts to suit her needs. Simon Reynolds as Daniel Dickinson, Pete and Mika's former boss in Washington, D.C., Aaron Ashmore as Steve Jinks was an ATF agent before being recruited to Warehouse 13 for his ability to know if people are lying. In Emily Lake he is killed by Marcus Diamond on orders of Walter Sykes. In Season 4, he is resurrected by Claudia using the metronome. Warehouse agents are provided by the host country of the warehouse, in this case from various government agencies. Agents of Warehouse 13 in particular were chosen either for their above-average intelligence or because they possess a kind of extranormal ability. Production: The network, then named Syfy, originally ordered a 2-hour pilot episode written by Farscape creator Rockness O'Bannon, Battlestar Galactica co-executive producer Jana Spenson, and D. Brent Mote. Jake Alexander eventually directed a revised version written by Spenson, Mote, and Blade. The series executive producer David Simkins. Syfy ordered an additional 9 episodes on September 19, 2008. The series premiered in the US on July 7, 2009, concurrent with the name change to Syfy. The series is filmed in and around Toronto, Ontario. Crossovers: Warehouse 13 is part of Syfy's developing shared fictional universe, with several characters crossing over between series. Global Dynamics researcher Douglas Fargo from Eureka traveled to South Dakota to update Warehouse 13's computer system in the Warehouse 13 episode 13.1. Warehouse 13 computer wizard Claudia Donovan subsequently traveled to the town of Eureka, Oregon to check out the technological marvels at Global Dynamics in the Eureka episode Crossing Over. Fargo again appeared in the Warehouse 13 episode Don't Hate the Player, when Claudia, Lattimer, and Bering travel to Palo Alto, California to find Douglas beta testing a virtual reality simulator with the aid of a dangerous artifact. Dr. Vanessa Calder, who appeared in the Warehouse 13 episodes for the team, Buried, Love Sick, and Endless Terror as a physician and love interest of Artie, traveled to Fenton, Pennsylvania, to investigate a series of deaths in which the victims suffered massive organ failures in the Alphas episode Never Let Me Go. Additionally, Hugo Miller spent some time in the town of Eureka, departing with Douglas Fargo at the end of episode 13.1. He returns in Love Sick, commenting that, every week, there's something seems to go boom. His presence there is off-screen. Reception. Warehouse 13's series premiere was the most watched cable show on American television that night. With 3.5 million viewers, it was also Syfy's third-best premiere ever, behind Stargate Atlantis and Eureka. Joanne Ostrow of the Denver Post described it as X-Files light, with the bickering Scully and Mulder stand-ins going off on Indiana Jones-style adventures. IGN reviewer Ramsey Eiler gave the pilot a positive review, but felt that it was not enough to give Syfy a chance to once again boast the best sci-fi show on TV. Ken Tucker of Entertainment Weekly gave it a negative review in July 2009, describing it as an unholy cross between The X-Files, Bones, and Raiders of the Lost Ark. In July 2010, Tucker amended his opinion, stating that Warehouse improved as it went along, and grew more riveting. He subsequently gave the show a rating of B. In 2010, the series composer, Edward Rogers, was nominated for an Emmy Award for Best Original Main Title Theme Music. Warehouse 13 has received 7 2012 Portal Award nominations, including Best Television Series, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress, Best Special Guest, and Best Episode. It was Eddie McClintock's third straight nomination and the second nomination for Sorrel Beank and Alison Scagliotti. Episodes. Media, DVD release, novels, Cox, Greg. Warehouse 13, A Touch of Fever. New York, Simon & Schuster, Comics. The first part of a 5-part comic series was released in August 2011 by Dynamite Entertainment with Part 5 released in December 2011. A trade paperback was released in May 2012 containing all 5 parts. References. External links, official website, Warehouse 13 at the Internet Movie Database, Warehouse 13 at TV.com.